I'm Josh Safdie.
And I'm Sean Baker. And I'm here to talk to Josh about the wonderful Marty Supreme.
On the A24 podcast.
It's great to do this with you, man.
Yeah.
I love Marty so much.
Yeah. Thank
you,
man.
Truly. I'm so happy for you and the whole team. Congrats on all the accolades so far.
I mean, you know what it means to me when I get your voice memos. I just... Luckily, you saw the movie in person, so I got like the real live.
Yeah, I've seen it 3 times now, actually,
wow.
And it keeps revealing new things each time.
Well, more than me, my crazy respect for your taste in movies as a filmmaker. You know what that means to me.
Well, yeah, and I know that we love the same stuff. We have the same sensibility, and I think
most of the time.
Sometimes we disagree, but yes, it's true. I do leave you very long and annoying audio texts.
I love them. It's actually like a little savior. I'll say, "Oh wow, I gotta," and then I'll bring them back. You're the only person I do it with. You know that?
Oh, that's hilarious.
And I like giving you little audio documentaries too. What I'm doing is I'm on the train.
Yeah. I hear New York behind you.
I know you miss it.
I want to read a text that you actually texted me back in 2020. I think I was right off of, from what I can tell, this was October of 2020. So I was right off of Red Rocket. I think I was bemoaning something. I think I was talking about how hard it is to keep things small.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about the size of
You had just made Red Rocket?
I think so, and I was a little frustrated with things, the way they went, even though I love the final outcome. Oh, thank you.
Movie.
But
Simon Rex, unbelievable.
Another anti-hero, like your film.
But they're not anti-heroes to you.
No, but I recognize that
when
audiences see them as anti-heroes. Do you see Marty as an anti-hero?
I mean, I hear people say it. That concept of anti-hero is so like negative.
I know, that's very true. That's
very
heroes.
True.
I think they're human.
Yes,
human
exactly.
With flaws. And okay, so I'm going to read this to you.
Okay.
So I forgot I left you an audio text that vanished, but this is your response.
Okay. I wish we had.
Again, I think it had something to do with trying to keep under the radar, because our previous films, definitely not Marty, but I think there was documentary techniques used where we sometimes had to exactly. So anyway, you wrote this. I think it's fun to swim in bigger lakes, and I think if you use the resources right, the product can be super interesting. I'm falling more and more into maximalist territory. And when you wrote that, I was like, what the hell is he talking about? But then 5 years later, I see Marty and I know exactly what you're talking about now. This is an epic film. The scope and scale just seems really big, and it's so impressive.
What I meant about, what was the date on that? 21? 20. What, like
October 2020?
Oh, so like pandemic's still like raging. Yeah. I had already been working on Marty. I think what happened was and it's kind of similar to what was happening, I think, with the direct cinema movement in a strange way. Is I started to look at life as a construct, and I started to realize, like particularly with those movies leading up to that, heaven knows what being like kind of like the most, because that was like that's a documentary essentially,
right.
And knowing that like life, if you look at life as like something that's built, there's millions of decisions that go into it. The higher power, whatever it is creating everything, like this table, this microphone, the color of the thing, the stand itself, the decision, someone's decision to light it this way, it's all there. And I started to I started to become obsessive about it, in particular with Gems, because it was this bigger movie and I was trying to still like steal life, recreate life. Yeah. So then when you start to kind of break it down, you're like, well, how can I create life and then access the way that I was making those movies? So like, how can I create life to have the feeling of going inside of it and stealing the movie? Because that is like the urgency of like getting something and getting out. And I think that was where my head was at. Lakes, I hate lakes. I don't like swimming in lakes.
Okay.
I like the ocean. But I don't know, when I talk to you, and a few other people, I can open up about that stuff. I don't think I would like send that text to anybody else but you.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm honored.
Yeah.
But that
because you know, like I texted you this when I was rewatching Prince of Broadway when you did the restoration. You put it on film. It looks so amazing.
Oh, thanks.
It looks so cool.
We're
Nothing looes like it. You know me. That's one of my favorites of yours. But it's the sneeze. Bless you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Because it's amazing. Because in that moment, you're watching like two real people. A guy sneezes. That's the most real you can get.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And the decision for the guy to just remain like hard a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't want to say, God bless you. He wants, bless you, motherfucker.
Yeah. No,
and it's one of my favorite moments. But like you can only capture, and I love the jump cutting in that movie because normally I don't. And but the jump cutting in that film is really awesome conceptually. Just works really well.
And you don't do any jump cutting.
Never done a jump cut.
Never.
No, never.
Oh, okay.
I always will like cut to something, and then even though like what a like incredible concept that like Godard invented. He's the first person to use it in narrative form, right? In fiction form. He's got to be with Breathless. I think so. I think he was like or maybe he popularized it.
Question. I don't know.
That's actually a crazy concept. I'm going to do something that like implies that there's stuff to cut out and like whatever. Anyway,
and it is something that it's fallen a little out of fashion, a little bit. I used it in one moment in Enora when they're outside the strip club because I just rolled literally 10 minutes on the two
in the
girls
beginning,
talking.
No?
Yes.
Yeah.
I ruled 10 minutes, a full mag on the two of them talking, and I was like, I don't have any other coverage, so I'm going to just jump cutting to the highlights.
Yeah.
But
it's a great way to set up, when you do something like that at the beginning of a movie, you're getting a lot of like
info out there.
Yeah, and goodwill too. And that was like also when I was thinking about that conceptually, is like getting that crazy dolly shot of Marty walking through the Lower East Side, the amount of like time and
the first one where he's coming, not when he's running later.
No, when he's walking, when he's bouncing, and there's that kind of I call it a slightly like Irish vibe of the score, and he's walking through and walking by people, and he's just like not a worry in his mind 5 hours late, but all those people.
Everything feels so alive.
And I was like shooting it like I was stealing it. We had a crane and a dolly. Oh, okay. But the vibe of it, the energy and pushing and directing all those extras. And there's the woman in a white jacket. I went up to her and I was like, "You're not cooking your husband dinner out of protest that night." So she's in her head. My AD team, they're all like going, and we had this Ken Jacobs film, Orchard Street, that had just been restored. His son Ozza did it. And that was like a Bible for us. So we had this.
Oh, that's wonderful.
We had this real life document of what that street was like. So that was like the standard. It was life.
That's great.
But when you do that in the beginning of a movie, you get this crazy production value, and you set the stand like time travel, and you're like, okay, I'm here in this world. The movie can go kind of anywhere because it feels that way. I said to Jack Fisk, who designed the movie, I said to him and Adam Willis, the set deck, I was like, I want to time travel because I want to tell the story presently as if I'm there. Because anyone who was around, my great uncle or some other people who were in that scene, they tell the stories. I'm relating to them in present tense. I'm not relating to them in a period. You know what I mean?
Did you have to like? See, I haven't done a period piece. I mean, my period piece was 5 years ago. So
same way. Gems was 2012.
Right.
But it's like you every once in a while you go and it's like, oh, we got to paint out that city bike bank,
Yep. Did you paint a lot of stuff out?
That was crazy because I have no relationship with VFX going into the movie outside of the sequence through the colon, and or the gem, excuse me. Which was incredible because I had to, when you don't have something to base it on, you have to build it from scratch, and so I worked with the same this guy Iran Denier, who is incredible, and he wrote a book about he actually his experience more like he did all the Wolf of Wall Street effects and things like that, but he's like the way he thinks is he's like almost like a physicist, and he plays table tennis, and he plays piano. And he loves like new age electronic music. So it was like a lot of he was perfect, and he is like I called him the evil scientist whenever he was around. I was like, oh no, what does he want to do? This is going to be evil. And the producer Kitaga's coming to me. He's like, well, I think we should paint that out over there. We can't afford to cover it. So it was a little bit of like that.
Right.
And that's a thankless job for them because it's like hard work that you hope no one ever notices.
No one notices.
So, but the table tennis stuff had some visual effects in there as well. But
the ball, basically.
Yeah. But we didn't, on that shot, in the Orchard Street, there's no VFX there.
No.
We were covering, there was 2 buildings that were built in 2015, 2020 that Jack had to build an entire new facade for.
Oh, okay.
Like a complete, like, and you plug them in, and then when we did that crazy chase scene, he would reuse pieces and just paint them differently. I mean, he's amazing. He in for Tree of Life, that tree, there's an oak tree that I guess Malik was like, it was spiritual.
Of course.
Yeah. And they saw it, and like, we have to bring that tree to location. And the root ball was like apparently like 25 feet in diameter. Yeah. And they got the quote to move a tree like that, and for it to survive is even crazier. I was like insane. I think it was like incredible. $500,000 to move the tree. That's incredible. So Jack was like, I'm gonna find local people, and they like slowly dug up the root ball, dusted it out, and then put it onto, he found like a local guy to put it on flatbeds, and they moved it. And his the great triumph of it is that it's still thriving and alive.
That's nice.
But he's like that.
Yeah.
There was like an interview with him where he was chopping down a tree that got some invasive on it. And he says to the interviewer, he goes, I remember planting this tree 50 years ago. Wow. And like the time and stuff like that.
Wow. There's so much texture. There seems to be, you can almost smell everything on, and then also just all the little details, especially in the shoe shop, in the shop.
When they were excavating that, it was on Orchard Street. We wanted to shoot in New York, which everyone's like, it's too expensive. I was trying to tap into the soul of the city. Thank you. I mean, I agree. I don't like cheating. Yeah. You know what I mean? I think it's on some level you're cheating. And I had said to production and Jack that like, well, we can get more days if we do this here and do that there. We could cheat this, and I really wanted to shoot this where these characters were from. I wanted to shoot it where they lived. Right. And there was one shop on Orchard Street that, you get lucky with some, poorly managed buildings. Yeah. Where they never took a deal and they never did this, and there's probably family disputes inside of it, and you can feel that dispute in this building. And it was just like, you walk in, it's like, I don't even know where half of the clothing, where it came from. It's like these, when you see like proper, like the garment district, like there are a lot of garmentos who make clothing, never heard of them. Yeah. They make them for bigger brands. So you go in there and there's just this like slop kind of like garmento slop, but it's beautiful because it's kind of outsider. Right. So you go in there and it's just, you can't even believe what you saw. It's just like underneath it all was the bones of this original kind of, this clothing company. Yeah. And when we excavated, we had to completely clear it out. Wow. And we have the scene in the basement where him and I don't even know if it plays like a basement, when him and Odessa, where his child is conceived. Oh, okay. That's in the basement because in the script it actually is like a pretty long tracking shot that brings him from switching the boxes out all the way up, and I just condensed it, cut out a piece cut out the travel. But when we had to shoot down there. And then we ended up having to recreate the whole basement on a stage because we ran out of time. We had to do that twice.
You did some stage stuff.
Yeah, the whole tenement. The whole tenement was on a stage. I wanted to shoot that on location because Jack is amazing. I was like, we have to shoot that on location. I don't want to cheat it. And then we went and like, they were like, Josh, we'd have to rent out every apartment because it's a tenement. There's one way up and down, and so it was. So we had to build that. And Jack's like, trust me, you will not know when we're there.
Incredible.
But when we were excavating the basement, he sent a picture of just a decomposed rat carcass. But it was just the bones, and it was like this big. And it was like something you'd see in the Natural History Museum. And I tried to preserve it, and like, we threw that away. Oh. And then they found a bone that was too big. Looked like a collar.
Oh, no.
And I was like, guys, I was like, they didn't send me a picture of that. It's like, I got to report that.
Yeah, we can.
And they're like, no, we think it was like a dog bone or something. I was like, I don't know, man. Lower East Side.
Yeah. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
When you, as a director, when you're shooting these scenes, that have to, time travel the audience, I'm assuming, do you do playback? Do you watch?
I say no playback because it's another job on set,
right?
And I think it's a crutch that people like to sit at. I hate the concept of video village.
Right.
It's just a kind of a cancer on a set, and everyone. So I never, but there had to be one on this, particularly for the table tennis thing.
Okay.
So we were carrying them, and they were great, and I never do playback. I never say, let me see that thing.
But you are watching a monitor.
I'm watching a monitor. And I'm like, if the scene is here, I'm like right there. I blew my knees out doing the movie because I would constantly throw myself into these little corners. And Ian Kincaid, my gaffer, was like, and Darius too, was like, sit next to me on this Apple box. I was like, no, I need to be right there.
Get knee pads.
I'm going to do that.
Actually.
I was like, I'm going to look into getting knee pads.
Yeah. Because all in that mansion, all the floors were like marble, hard floors.
Yeah,
and I was
throwing yourself
constantly
too.
Going down and being like, knee pads.
Did you have knee pads? Did you end up getting them? I
Amazoned them. Yeah,
should have done that.
So when you're looking at the monitor, is there like the suspension of disbelief has to kick in for you as the director, right? Do you feel that happening in the moment? Do you lose yourself and like, I'm back and seeing Marty in the 50s right now?
Well, what's funny is I took it for granted.
Oh, okay.
Because I was just there treating it as if it was real.
That's
Every
awesome.
once in a while, I would say something like Adam and Jack, the way they talk about real life is they won't say that's so 52. They would say that's so period.
Okay, yeah.
They were like, that's so period. They would show me something. Look how period this is. And I don't know if that's like lingo for people who do period pieces, how they see, but to me it meant it took on a different meaning. It was like this timeless thing in front of us. It has a timeless quality, it has an aura. Like, look at that. Look, that's so period. And the way they said that, I don't know. I always really. It was very spiritual to me. The art department is, especially on a film where you're going back in time, and with Miyako, her costuming, it is, she would go and do crazy thrifting and pulling. And then, so her costume department actually had thousands of pieces. And she didn't use any of them, but it was more for me and her to go and look, and characters in the movie, Tyler, to just go and look, and then you build. So it's like, this piece looks really nice, so let's build a piece like this. And so all of it is kind of like we're all, and obviously everyone's inspiring each other. But I think Erickson is the production designer on McCabe and Mrs. Miller.
Okay.
I know he's Jack's hero.
Mentor.
And he, on McCabe and Mrs. Miller, a movie that I know you hate the fake snow in.
It was probably the first time anyone was doing optical snow.
Sure.
And it doesn't exactly hold up.
In the beginning, when you see these restorations, maybe when you see like an 4K old print
restoration, like maybe I wish I
I've never seen the restoration. I've only seen the old DVD.
Well,
and
it's a
the
wonderful
print.
restoration.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I remember reading a story that Warren Beatty, when he saw that movie, like, man was so psyched to show it to him, and he was like, he's like, what'd you think? He goes, I couldn't fucking hear one word that I said. What did you do to the movie? And he's like, isn't that amazing? And Warren Beatty's like, no, it's not amazing at all. But because it was conceptual. But the production designer would go into town and go to the bars and get the drunks who were there and bring them to the set, or the people who built the sets, he'd put them in the scenes. So that's why they feel so alive. And I went nuts casting a lot of these extras and faces. So I would populate, and Jack felt like I built these sets, but they're not alive until, Josh, you put these people in them. And that was when I would that's when the suspension of disbelief really comes alive to me, is when I'm like the bowling alley, when you just have all these people that have these anachronistic not timeless faces, not anachronistic. And they're just in perfect costume with perfect hair. Kay Georgia, my hair person, I gave her carte blanche. I was like, if the hair isn't perfect or right, get rid of them. So then the extras people were like, hey, Kay is releasing these 3 extras. Like, good. you know, and I was like, send me pictures. Like, she was right, because she was looking at the faces only.
My God, what you and Jennifer found with Marty. I mean, every scene is just populated with just incredibly unique looking, beautiful people.
Yeah, beautiful people. Yeah, because Jen's like a humanist, and I'm lucky. She's a documentarian. Her movie Billy the Kid is a testament to who. Amazing movie. That was how I met her. I was playing pool, and I was on a roll. I was feeling sharkish. You know, I was. If I can lock in and focus, my problem is focus. Sometimes I believe when I was a kid, I was like, if I focus on something, I can do anything. That was in my mind. My dad instilled that into me. But so I was playing pool, and she came up to me. She tried to like cast me. She was doing a lot of unusual casting. Yeah, unusual casting for fashion spreads.
Oh, okay.
And then I think the first like time she was, and then like I think maybe Spike Jonze reached out to her to find the kid and Where the Wild Things Are. She came up to me to be like, hey, you know, pays really good money, you know, you should. And I was like, I don't know, I don't want to do that. Even though I was acting in my early stuff, I was like, I don't want to do this just for me. I'm trying to learn for myself. I don't want to do it for someone else. And so I met her that way, and then I went to see Billy the Kid, and I cried watching that film. And I went up to her, and I was like, what a beautiful movie. So what you're seeing in the film is like, I'm meeting people on the street. I'm sending them to Jen. She's finding people on the street herself. She has a team of people who go into the real world. She's looking at real, you know, the fabric of SAG and real people. And she looks at actors as real people. And as you should. And sometimes they're famous and they, you know, they make a studio happy. And sometimes they're someone who's just been working for a long time and no one's giving them kind of their due. And so she's looking at everyone the same way, but what's happening with some of these first timers, and you know, you can feel it in your movies, is that and it's part of the job as a director is instilling a certain sort of confidence and ease. Like you have the agency to do whatever you want. And that, because whatever you decide to do is great because you're deciding to do it on some level, and then you steer them, and I don't like the word manipulate, but you push them into areas so that they can do their thing in them. But so Jen's style is she'll like do an interview with these people. Again, it doesn't matter if they're a known person or an unknown person, and she'll send a 20-minute interview, and her interviews are amazing. There's like deep dive, spiritual,
that's so cool.
and then you learn something from them, and then you go back and it's like, oh, I want to put this piece into the character, so you're rewriting.
Sometimes you use a piece of their
and then they see that and they're like, wow, you saw something in me. And then she does, I'd consider it's like acting school. So then in her little windowless room, I'll give a character description and a scenario, and I want to see how these people improvise, and then she'll work with them, and then we'll do it again, and then you introduce dialogue and see how they can do it with structured scenes. Because
you don't have much improv in this film, right?
In this one, no. I mean, I was so afraid of the script. Even though we spent 6 years on it, I was so afraid of it. It's like this thing. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Do you feel that way?
I do. I sometimes it just feels like it might be too structured. It might be too, or I've been living with it too long and it no longer feels fresh. And I want to mix it up on set. And so therefore, I just say like, we'll do a couple of takes with what I've written, and then if we feel so inspired to take it in another place, using this as a launching pad, and that's what I've been doing for the last few films, because I've had to flesh out my screenplays to full-length screenplays, whereas the film you mentioned earlier, Prince of Broadway, oh my God, that was like a treatment, and us showing up every day 100%. And just being like, let's see what happens. It's hard to do it on bigger budgets. Also, it's impossible to do it with what you did, which is, you know, a period piece and obviously very structured and you know, I can totally relate. For a long time, I remember I wrote a screenplay, and I remember like this one group of people who I met through this strange woman. And she was like, it was this movie that ended up turning into Daddy Longlegs, but it was a structured script. It was like about this kind of the same, and that morphed into Daddy Longlegs in some way. It was about like the same family going to a beach, and the whatever, the kid gets lost on the beach, and it's a crazy movie. But
because I couldn't get that made, and I remember I was sitting there in this they were lawyers, the people who were going to give us the money. We were asking for like $100,000, and they were like, we're going to bring in someone who knows the industry. So they brought in like, I don't remember, an actress that I didn't recognize from Footloose, I think had like a small part in Footloose.
Yeah. She was one of the feet in the opening credits.
Yeah, so I was like, they were like, I'm like, oh, pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
And then we read the whole script in this conference room. And I remember they said, well, can you include 9/11 in it somehow? I was like, this movie takes place on a beach. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, like, well, this movie feels very nostalgic, and it would be interesting to kind of at least evoke the Twin Towers. And I was like, but it doesn't take place in 2000 and whatever, 1990s or 2000.
Yeah.
They get, but it would be good for us.
Yes.
And we jokingly like pitched the most ridiculous thing, and they were like, that's a great idea. I don't want to say what it was, but
sometimes you have to appease.
But but my point is, like, I never wanted to. I got afraid of the script, and then I just wrote treatments, and Daddy Longlegs was just 40 pages of just prose, and I was like, I'll get these kids Ronnie to say the words as he wants to say them. There was some dialogue, but it was all ideas. Yeah. And on this, and I'm sure look, Honora is very structured, and I think we've discussed about other films and other filmmakers this feeling of maybe it's, I don't know where, maybe you like get really into, I don't know, these realist films that you start to have this kind of thirst for story.
That's very true.
And the story becomes I don't know, paramount. So
you mean like starting off early in your career?
Yeah, where you're just like,
I just want to
one
capture.
sentence. Yeah, you have an idea of a movie,
right?
And you have a very general structure.
And the goal is more about maybe craft and trying to like recreate reality.
Yes,
and then as we've moved on,
we
actually our stories have been
more complicated,
a little more traditional in a
way.
Maybe
people hate that.
Middle and end.
Maybe people hate that, but I think they're. I like to see ideas.
Yeah, we like stories.
Yes, we like stories.
Beings,
exactly. Yes, 100%.
The cavemen around the fire.
Completely.
And hearing a beginning, middle, and end.
Do you tell or do you orate the story to somebody before you?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's helpful because you know immediately when someone's like, where's this going?
I'm about to get into that right now because I have it all here and it's about to be vomited out onto
Who do you
paper.
Do that with?
Samantha and Alex Coco.
Amazing.
My two fellow producers, and it's about me going, guys, come over, sit down. I'm going to take 2 edibles, and I'm going to just.
It's amazing that you can. I know that about you. I don't know how many people know about you. Were you on edibles at the Oscars?
I time it so that
you're coming down,
so that I'm not too high up on stage.
It's unbelievable. I can't.
It's always timed perfectly so that it's really hitting just as I'm exiting.
I love that. That sounds like such a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
I am. When I can't do it anymore. When I used to smoke weed, it was a punishment.
Oh wow!
I would sit. I would do it. I'd be alone. If I had an interaction with someone, oh my God, that's bad news. And I would criticize myself, and I'd write them down, and I have these nasty things about myself, and then. It was horrible. It's a horrible experience, but I thought that I needed it to understand, ideas and myself. And then I'd be sober and I'd come to and I'd read these things. I'm like, okay, that's through the lens of this. So I admire that you could, because these things are, it's amazing that you were able to.
Well, I think it was actually something I avoided because I had a bad experience making a student film once.
Oh, really?
Where I was too high. And I'm never doing that again. Yeah. And to tell you the truth, I don't. When I'm directing, no way.
You have to be lucid, man.
No.
Yeah.
But I do use it in writing and in post. And I edit high.
Wow.
And maybe I shouldn't be in.
We can delete that. But
it's 100%. And Nora, I even it was both Red Rocket and Nora that I edited literally 100%. I don't think I edited a scene that's not high. And in the end credits, I thank my dispensary. But anyway,
I love that.
But actually, that brings us to editing. You
Yes.
co-edit with Ronnie.
That's right.
And
it's the first time I've edited since my early films.
Oh.
Yeah, and
okay.
I because I was, I'm so involved in the edit.
Yeah.
And what I was is for a long time I have anxiety, like bad anxiety, and the process of editing is anxiety inducing in the sense that, like, okay, I know this, I want to do this, I know these pieces, but it's and every time I'm in the micro of making the specific cut, I'm fine. It's then when I have them all and I have to, just having a timeline where you have to make a cut and you have to, like, make sure you get all the that. I know it's such a simple thing, that just feeling of moving a timeline, it could be just a 4-minute scene, gives me so much anxiety that I can't. I couldn't do it, so I had to get over that.
And imagine doing that on a Steenbeck.
Yeah, oh my God. You cut probably on that when you lose one frame and you're in the bin and you're like, oh, where's that one frame? I made the wrong cut. So that kind of trains you to be a little bit more orthodox and strict with the cutting. So I have that background a little bit. Yeah,
that's the greatest thing about the digital revolution, by the way, is what it did for post.
Oh my God.
That's, in my opinion, the greatest thing about digital. So do you and Ronnie, how do you and Ronnie split it up? And are either one of you editing during production?
No. During, not even a little bit.
Okay.
So writing is the scariest part, because it could go on forever.
Of course.
It could go on forever, and the ideas.
It's the hardest part, too.
It's the hardest part, 100%. People don't like to really say that. Which is not fair to the writers. It's the hardest part. It's the ideas. It's the bedrock. It's the foundation. The actual hardest part is direction. But because it's just war, and the world doesn't want your movie to exist, and there's a million problems. There's time management. It's performances, so you have to, like, constantly be blind to different parts of yourself, so that this stress doesn't exist for this person, and then you're in this space and you're with life all of a sudden. You're doing the takes, but it's finite. It's over in 46 days. It's over. With writing, it could go on forever. Who knows when an idea will come? And in the edit, you have this. It's done. So and when we're shooting, I don't have time to watch dailies. I don't have time to watch dailies, let alone edit.
I know.
I had a great editing team, like, who were looking at stuff
just to make sure everything's in focus.
And exactly. Which there was a lot of focus problems on this.
Well, we're shooting film.
Shooting film with these old lenses, and low light scenarios. Darius, Prince of Darkness, he's shooting things, and I'm no marks. You know what I mean? So I'm letting people, and sometimes he'll be like, "Josh, the actor has to go right here. I've lit for this area." I was like, "We'll see what they do." And he's like, well, "No, just tell them to go here." I was like, "Can't do that, Darius." Timmy, with some, like, some of the more, like, veteran actors, they can do it. But even, like, the veteran actors, you don't put marks down. You're encouraging this freedom. Like you were saying earlier, you have these takes, you do them that are kind of tied to the script. Then you go into these unknown territories, these uncharted territories, and you kind of find your way back to the script a little bit, looking for this feeling, and you end up using pieces of just improvisation in some way, or improvisation emotionally, you know what I mean? Doing little things, moving different places. But I would say to Darius, if they don't hit that light pool, and they're maybe over here, it's almost more interesting, because there's an imperfection there, and someone might not land in a pool of light. They might be slightly underlit and drive Darius crazy, but he started to understand, like, okay, people became not just things you can push around, they became these real life things, which is like a documentary in some way. But, that's why, like, even I remember on Heaven Knows What, I, like, stretched out the credits because I wanted it to look like it was like a real production, but in the end of the day, it was like 5 people making a documentary. I try to bring that feeling a little bit to this, but it's going back to the editing. The dailies, like, I remember reading these stories about Altman. He did these daily watching parties. I was like, wow, how does he have the time to do that? But it was beautiful, because I imagine it would be, I do that in prep. You get all the crew members, all the department heads together, and you watch all the camera tests and things like that. And I'm playing music. And I'm creating the vibe, and also the 80s music was part of that from the very beginning.
Really, all of those tracks.
It was written into the script,
You can tell because it feels so deliberately cut to the music as well. It seems like you've even storyboarded. I don't know if you storyboarded. I storyboarded like 25% of the movie. Oh, interesting.
But because you have to for some of these bigger set pieces, like the stunts people need to know, the effects people need to know, a shot list. like crazy, the film. And what's crazy is I ask for statistics at the end of a movie from the camera department, so I like know my own stats and be like, how many takes do I do? How much film do I shoot?
On the setups too? Like
on the setups
how
too.
Much do I shoot on the wide? How much do I shoot on my close-ups? Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I usually shoot the wides kind of and after all the close-ups,
right? Which
drives the gaffers and all them crazy because the wide is always lit differently.
Yeah.
Normally you go in. I like to establish what they're doing on close-up, and then you move out. Do you do that?
I mix it up. It really depends on the scene. And sometimes I start with the principle,
it's not a science.
And then come out. I try not to actually stick to the same thing every time.
It's interesting though, because people don't realize that that's the order of which you're shooting a scene is for the actors.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's the beginning of the direction. We're going to start here and then we're going to go there. And that's why, you know, if you let an AD decide what you're doing, we're going to do this first, do that first, and all of a sudden you're just this is all due respect to the AD department, but that's not their job. Right. You know what I mean? And you're right. So it is tailored to each scene and to performers, and then you have like, who do you like when you known actors sometimes like, well, who wants to get shot first and things like that, so you have to play that game.
And sometimes something happens and you have to go back and try, and if you don't, there have been a few times where I'm just like, why didn't I just spin the camera and take that extra 20 minutes and shoot additional coverage?
Well, I'll bring in a second camera for that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
I'll just bring a second camera in.
Okay. So you had multiple cameras shooting and okay.
And I would have that for allowing the director, the actors, like for example, the scene between Kevin and Timmy in the Paris scene. That was the second day of shooting, and I really didn't want to do that. There's a huge scene in the middle of the movie. Unfortunately, it has lots of narrative information in it, and those are the hardest scenes to shoot, just from a directing standpoint, because you're just like, they have to say information that's important to the movie, and you feel bogged down by that sometimes. But I had two cameras at once, and that drives Darius crazy, and I never try to do that where you're doing this. I told Darius I'll never do it if the shots are compromised and the subjectivity is not there. And we're able to frame it up, use long enough lenses and things like that, which I like anyway.
So it's like 75 or
360.
360?
Yeah, you're far away.
Wait, what scene was a 360?
I've used 360 a lot. That's like the most beautiful jewel C-series Panavision lens.
Yeah, crazy.
You know what? I discovered that lens because it was used on Rossi's Moment of Truth. The bullfighting, beautiful bullfighting, which was a hybrid film as well.
Right.
On the bull stuff, he used a 360, but it was, I think, spherical. So it was... but it was, I think it was a...
Wow, he was holding wonderful focus on all that stuff.
I mean, you have like daylight, so it was like a pretty high... it was like probably F16 or whatever. 11.
And you didn't do much handheld in this film. I mean,
every time we were in the tenement, every time was handheld.
Oh, okay. But
that was like a rule.
It was actually really steady handheld.
Yes. Really I have like Colin Anderson, my camera operator, who does all of PTA's films. And like a lot of Bob Richardson movies, he's like a human. I mean, he's the greatest Steadicam operator ever. He's like a dolly. It's unbelievable. And I had a lot of Steadicam in this, and I told him, I begged him to do the movie. And he, amazing. Your operator becomes, that's your eyes. You know what I mean? And Darius operated once or twice on the film, but he's more of a lighting cameraman. Darius is expressing himself through light in a very poetic way, and was doing period lighting in a way, like the color temperatures and whatnot.
Probably a lot of tungsten.
Yes, they brought a lot of tungsten. Modern day.
There's a difference. There's definitely a difference.
Modern day lighting, they would pull in those sky panels or something.
Right.
They would use those, and they would key in. They would like use more Kelvin as their reference. They would. Ian would test the Kelvin of like a period light and then try to match it on these sky panels and stuff.
It's just gorgeous. I mean, it really is. And
it's amazing.
And you told me that maybe there were some lenses that were actually created for designed?
Rehoused. My wife was a producer on the movie. There's a movie that's not very good called I think it's called A Woman's World. And it was one of the first anamorphic pictures made.
Really? Okay.
There's The Rope, not Rope.
Right.
And there was this film, A Woman's World. I'm pretty sure it was called, and Lauren Bacall's in it. and beautiful in it. And it's not a great movie, but there's anamorphic footage. She found it because we were looking for footage of anamorphic footage, in particular of New York City in the time period. Because I was thinking I was going to mix kind of real footage in with the film.
Oh yeah.
And she found this movie that was 1 year after our period.
Oh, okay.
And it was all shot in New York. So I was like, I want the dailies.
Yeah.
So we went, and the studio, Fox, kept all that. So we found the dailies because I wanted to do this driving shot where I wanted to create projection of the real city using anamorphic footage.
Yeah.
And again, that's conceptually cool, but we didn't end up doing it. But what I saw was, I was like, what are these lenses? They're period lenses with anamorphic. So Fox bought Bausch & Lomb and created these lenses called Cinemascopes.
Yeah.
And there are 2 sets in the world. And we found TCS in New York. Do you know Oliver in TCS in New York?
I do.
Yeah, he's amazing. And he's like a lens hunter.
Yeah,
he helped me find this NASA Vivitar lens that's opened up to 0.8. Amazing. I had it on set. It's spherical.
Yeah.
So
I was going to say that these old lenses probably didn't open up past 4.
I think Kubrick had one for Barry Lyndon.
Yes,
that went
of course.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But they're NASA. They're designed for outer space where no light. So I found them with Oliver. They were, I think, in Sweden, but they were old. So he rehoused them, and we brought them. We started testing them, and they were beasts. They were like this big, and they weighed like 80 pounds. And we used them a little bit. They had a lot of technical problems, so we didn't use them very much. But they're in the movie here and there. There was a lot of stuff on Orchard Street that we cut that was all shot exclusively with them.
And it seems like you had. It seems like you always have a kind of a loose head on the.
Oh yeah.
You're locked down.
Yes.
You're on sticks.
Always
but
loose.
It's always loose.
Absolutely. I always tell them, do not ever lock that off. Every once in a while, because I just want to be able to be where the camera could go and give Timmy the freedom, give all the actors the freedom.
Yeah.
Sometimes they go off the set.
Yeah. But it keeps it alive without going full handheld.
Yeah.
It keeps it alive. There's an energy there.
But the rule definitely was every time we were in the tenement, we were handheld.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Okay.
How did Kevin O'Leary come to the project?
So Ronnie and I wrote this character.
Because he's great. I love him, by the way.
He's a corporate colonialist, or the first of its kind of post-war carpetbagger, eternal power. You know what I mean? Scary, timeless power that's been around for as long as capitalism has been around. So I was looking at actors. I met with a few. They just were never going to bring what was needed. You know, I'm chasing life. So then I went back to the drawing board and I pulled up Forbes' top 50 richest people in the world. And I just went through each one, and then you watch interviews with them, and they don't have it. They're not cinematic. They're not great looking. Some of them, and then I was like, okay, let me think of entertaining businessmen, and there's a lot of them. And I started going through. And naturally, I got to the great American dream show, Shark Tank. And Ronnie and I were talking a lot about this character as we wrote it. So I called Ronnie and I was like, what about Shark Tank? Like Cuban. He goes, Mr. Wonderful. I was like, oh my God, yes, Mr. Wonderful. He goes, that's the only guy we can use off that show.
Yeah, right.
Because he is an asshole. He's a known asshole. He anchors the show.
Yeah.
And, I've watched a lot of Shark Tank. Ronnie's watched probably every episode of Shark Tank.
Okay.
He'll hit me up and be like, you got to watch this one. But I love the show. What I like is I like the portraiture of the people who come on. I love business. I like watching people make deals and looking up what the businesses go on to do. So I met with him. And these people like this, they have a lot of money. He has no reason. He's going to lose money making this.
Yes. Yeah.
There's no reason for him to do it.
Right.
So I went on to a Zoom with him, and I had to pitch him, and it was frightening because I was on Shark Tank.
You were basically doing. I was
on Shark Tank, and I was at a moment he said something about Uncut Gems that was illuminating because he looks at life like product.
Oh yeah.
And he saw that. He's an artist, though. He started off as an artist.
Oh, okay.
He edits his own material. He has beautiful cameras that he likes. He loves lenses. He plays the guitar. Very unique, interesting person.
Okay.
And unique point of view on life.
Yeah.
And I just knew the second I was talking to him, I said to Ryan, it's like he agreed. He was like, I really like this. What's next? Immediately.
Yeah.
I was like, well, next is we meet and we go through the script. And
what did he have to say about Uncut?
He said, things don't exist for everybody, and you had a thing. Oh. Basically, like there was a thing there.
Oh, okay.
And he was speaking, the way he used the word thing was conceptual. And I was like, oh wow, it was
so he's talking about like the value of the...
Yeah, just like, not just the fact that, you know, he obviously it connected with audiences, so maybe he's talking about that on a pure kind of business level.
Yeah.
But he was also talking about, for him conceptually, it was this thing. It was like a complete product without being cruel about it. And he loved it, and he loved how dark it was. He wishes Marty was much darker. He wanted a fucked up ending for the movie. He kept pushing it. He wanted Rachel to die.
Oh, no.
And I was like, what's wrong with you? This is why you are who you are, man. What's wrong with you? Something is wrong. Something is wrong with him.
Well, he probably wanted to, you know, he liked Uncut.
Well, he just like wanted Marty. He was so the character. He didn't like that he got dueled. He didn't like that he lost the duel, and he wanted Marty to suffer. So then I was like, next step is you know, we meet, we go through the scenes. I want to hear your voice. I want to adapt it, see if it works, you know. And he's like, well, I'm not coming to New York. I was like, well, I don't want to do this over Zoom. He's like, I'll fly you. I'll fly you and Ronnie and cool. to wherever I am. So he put us on a tiny little plane, which is frightening. And then we went and we met with him over the course of a day. He had the script in his living room, and he had some house guest who had read it twice already, and who was like a probably businessman or something. And that guy loved it, and Kevin loved the script. And then when I met with him, he came up with that vampire line. He came up with it because we were meeting with him, and we were trying to figure out how would Kevin O'Leary react to this kid saying to him that money doesn't matter to him. There are other things that are more important. This is fate in front of him. And he goes, I would never do anything that could ever implicate me in any other way. So I would use the dark arts. And I was like, oh man, like how? And he just said, like, I would look to him and I'd say, Marty, I was born in 1601. I'm a vampire. I look at Ronnie and we're like, oh my God.
I actually...
what a line.
I've been seeing stuff online, and people have been seeing this film as a vampire film. I don't know if that was... We
had an idea.
Yeah.
At one point, which just kind of speaks to the music in the film. The music in the movie is this built-in feeling of, first of all, the timelessness of it, what anachronism does. The past haunting the future hunting the past, hauntology. But the movie, originally, you saw his life pass. Yeah. From having the baby all the way up to 87 at a Tears for Fears concert.
Oh,
where he's with his granddaughter.
So that was in the original draft, the first draft?
Yeah, and you saw everything.
Where the 80s music came from?
Yeah, and you saw, I actually had the idea before I had that idea.
Oh, okay.
The idea from the very beginning, I wanted to see what this world looked like in 1949, and I was listening to Peter Gabriel's I Have the Touch. The time I like is the Rush Hour, because I like the Rush. Pushing Into People, I like it all so much, and it just felt right.
Yes.
And I was also like kind of allergic to the feeling of a period piece, the nostalgia of it.
So you want to contaminate it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and also the 80s were a very interesting time, the beginning of postmodernism. They were revisiting the opulence and prosperity of the 50s. Right. Culture was Back to the Future was literally the 80s going back to the 50s.
Oh, you're right.
So that was where it started, and then you start building to it. And I'm like, oh, this could tie it all together. But you saw him, I can't remember saying this, you would see him go through, he comes in, as you imagine, he's an amazing salesman. He turns that shop into the most successful shop on Orchard Street. Yes. He changes it to Marty Mauser Shoes, franchises. Yeah. Franchises again, leaves New York State, becomes a very rich man. All the metrics of success are there. His family grows, he leaves the city, has this beautiful house, and it ends with him at a concert with Tears for Fears with his granddaughter. There are great seats up front, and he's watching it, and he's thinking about everybody wants to rule the world and youth, and what does it mean? And he has this success, but he's not doing the thing that he believed he was born on planet to do. But he has all this great stuff around. He has these great things around him.
Interesting.
And you're on his eyes. We built the prosthetics for Timmy and everything. And Mr. Wonderful shows up behind him and takes a bite out of his neck. And that was the last image of the movie. And he hasn't aged.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember A24 and everyone were like, this is a mistake, right?
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
You might think
you're trolling us. No, I like that idea a lot, but I'm obviously very happy with what you did, and I love the structure now of like conception, birth, and I don't think I've seen that before. Yeah. Which is crazy.
I feel like I've seen it before, but maybe not.
And one last thing, Odessa.
Yeah.
She is incredible. Like really great.
She's when
in the beginning, rewatching, I've seen the film 3 times. So the second and third time, I'm just really appreciating that opening scene because I didn't pick up on how blatantly they're lying and like pretending not to know each other. But it's so obvious in the second and third viewing. It's like, that was her first.
You schedule, as you know, also when you schedule a movie, you want the first scene that they shoot to have an importance. With Gwyneth, the first thing we shot with her return to the stage. Yeah. With Odessa, she was doing a horror film, so the first thing we were gonna do was her first scene in the movie. And I kept saying, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. The hustle's not working. The hustle's not working. And I was like, the scene is not you doing the hustle. The scene is you forgot your shoes.
Yes.
And the scene is you want to look at them and you want to find these shoes.
Yeah.
So once she realized, like, oh, that's the scene. The scene isn't me playing. The scene is this. Then she locked in and she was so good. And my metric was all the extras, because there's all these people I put into the scene, real people I know. This guy Mordecai Rubenstein, this guy Morty, who's like obsessed with fashion. He knows 40s, 50s fashion, so he was a great salesman. He is a great salesman. He's selling shoes. All these people are in the thing. The store is super alive.
Yes.
Screwed me a little bit with sound. And I would ask Morty, I was like, what do you think's going on in the scene? He goes, it's the beginning of a romance. I was like, perfect. You know what I mean? Once you heard that, you're like, oh, it's working.
Yes.
So none of the extras had any idea really that they knew each other.
Right.
So that was kind of the barometers. Like if they buy it, the audience, so I'm happy that.
Yeah, and then when he returns 8 months later and he sees her and they have that moment where he's saying like, does Ira pull out? And she goes, you really want me to answer that question? And starts to tear up. That was the moment where I'm just like, Odessa's a star. Like she's a star.
Yeah, she was so prepared and so great. Yeah. Jen was the second she read it, she's like, this is the actor.
Yeah, I'm so happy for her. Your entire ensemble cast. You can't have a weak link. You don't have a weak link.
No, one person ruins a movie.
No. Yes, that's very true. That's very true. Okay, well,
honestly, Sean, I wish I could ask you more questions. I know this was structured as talking about my movie, but
we're talking about Marty and
but I love you and love all of your work. So and I feel kinship.
Yeah,
so that's why when you responded to this movie,
definitely.
I believe this is a small film. My producer came up to me and goes, you're like making like a $50,000 movie.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, really? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, I'm trying to steal this movie.
Well,
so that's why when you saw it, I'm happy that resonated with you.
Yeah.
And I hope you make a period film to see how you do it.
Yeah, I wonder how far I'll go back. I don't know if I will go to the 50s. Maybe
the research
80s,
part
maybe
is hard.
80s.
The research part is hard. So you could go back to the 80s.
Yes, because I lived that. Yeah. But I just find Marty to be so inspiring because, again, I see all of your trademarks. I see your signature all over it, but it's so different from your other stuff in terms of it's so structured. It's so controlled. But you have all that energy, all the spontaneity, all of everything that makes it just feel like you're capturing real life. But I know you didn't capture it every moment of this had to be calculated. So I find that so impressive. And I just want to really commend you and your entire team on it.
Means a lot from you.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Well,
Thank you, Sean.
Good luck with everything.